So whenever the market closes green, as soon as it closes at 4 p.m. futures, it's gonna retrace, right? Every time. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. It's not that simple, guys. A lot of you guys are going into post-settlement trades or trades right at market close and thinking that it's just an automatic inverse. That's not the way it works at all. When you trade, outside of regular hours, there is still some technical analysis as well as time frame based analysis that you need to use outside of just looking for reversals. Okay, that's the common retail trader trait, is just thinking, oh, this thing has to reverse here, right? If it went up, it has to go down, right? There was a big green candle. Surely this is when there is a red candle. It's not that easy. We need a reason to reverse, right? We need seller competition. We need the sellers to start competing against each other in that example that I gave. I'm going to talk about overnight patterns, trades, setups using a very real example from a trade that I was actually taking. I had a little road trip to Toronto this week and had some really good bull flag, overnight plays. I want to really explain to you in this video how you can have a thesis going into the overnight session and then start to trade that thesis and what is some typical overnight behavior on NQ futures. For those of you that are new here, my name is Forrest. I invest in stuff. I'm a day trader as well. I also have a Discord community that I am partnered with another fellow named Soul. We day trade live every single day, 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. That is right. Every single day, 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. So if you're looking for a day trading family, check us out. We have 50% off until I think mid-July. I can't remember how long I'm doing the promotion, but use the code 10K, 10 capital K. And yeah, if that code works when you sign up, that means the promotion's still going. This video is going to be up forever and I'm not going to edit this part out. So yeah, if the code still works, 50% off. Some foundation. Okay, first and foremost, if you know me, you know how I trade. I trade price action and volume, right? So the auction, the volume profile is my favorite indicator nowadays. Okay, even before the volume profile, we were just using candlesticks. People are often thinking about supply and demand zones, and they often do that just using trend lines or price areas. And so if you look at, a candlestick chart, and just imagine this in your head, I'm not even gonna pull up an example. A candlestick chart that tests the level multiple times, right? You end up with a top wick, or a bounce, a rejection, a V, whatever it is, the shape, it could be a double top M, okay? It leaves that price. If you were to actually look at volume at that rejection area, there very likely are shelves on the volume profile. So that is a missing component for a lot of people, is actually understanding what prices have the most participation, right? So we often look at price at time. Well, we can look at prices across time, which is what the volume profile does. Or really volume across time at a price. That's what the volume profile tells us. And by using that, we can determine what the market wants to do overnight. So let's open up an example and talk about it. But before we do that, I want you to picture one more thing in your mind. I want you to picture a D distribution day, okay? A D that is evenly distributed. Just think of, the typical, distribution whenever you're learning stats in school. And for anybody who, doesn't know stats, just look up a standard distribution. Okay, that shape, that's a D shape or volume profile. Okay, I want you to imagine that the market is a typical range day. All the prices are evenly distributed with the most transactions being at the middle. But then from 3:30 to 4, it suddenly leaves the middle with a heavy bias and it closes much higher, right? It closes higher, and then in the last 30 minutes, they build a bunch of volume. They build a bunch of volume higher, okay? Have that in your mind. The auction, the actual participation by the actions of the market participants, that's what I wanted to say, drove the price higher, and they built volume there after being on a magnet all day. Think about in your head what that might mean, and I'm gonna show you what it tends to mean. Let's take a look at an example. Come on, let's take a look. Alrighty. I'm running on like 2 hours of sleep, guys. Let me make sure my microphone is on. If my head is slightly moved, it's because I kicked the stand. This is a new angle. Rearrange the set. So this is looking into the room. I've got the wrap around here. I've been meaning to shoot multiple angles, but I'm exceptionally busy, and so I haven't been moving anything around. In any case, let's take a look at the overnight session. All right, so today it's Friday, June 28th at 10:04 p.m. Had a great day trading. We had a nice long off of the previous volume profile. I'm going to talk about that in a separate video, but a good session overall. What I want to focus on is this time period here. So I'm going to do an Alt V, and we're going to change the color of this line to white, and we'll do Alt V. It really doesn't matter, just to the beginning of today's session, another line in white. So we care about this overnight session after Thursday, June 27th session, okay? So we're going to use the bar replay feature in TradingView. If you're new and you've never used TradingView, TradingView is just a charting tool. Okay, there is a free version. You can go to tradingview.com. I personally use this to do all of my charting, all of my analysis. When you see me share my charts, they're always in TradingView. It's a great tool. Okay, I'm not affiliated with them in any way. It's just a really good tool. You should use it. If you want to have charts set up this way, people ask me this every single day. I'll quickly show the indicators that I'm using. So I have VWAP. I'm actually going to turn that off. We don't need it here. The visible range volume profile. Okay, that gives us volume profile on the right side of the screen, as well as the session volume profile HD. We're going to get rid of the visible range. We really just need the session for now to understand. We want to see what happened in this session and then the setup to overnight. So we're going to replay really back to the beginning of the session. And we're actually going to go to the 5-minute chart. Okay. We're going to let the session volume profile load to show us volume at each price. So on this candle, it's currently 10:05 a.m. on Thursday, June 27th. I'll do shift key right to play 5 minutes. And let's look at the day develop. I actually want you to look at the volume profile and how it develops as I do this. Okay. We start to fill in these low value areas. Okay. Now we get a sense that we've got 3 modes of distribution here. Because, I mean, with experience, you'll know that they'll start to fill in these LVNs unless there's extreme bias, or you have some thesis for a bias on the daily or something like that. But you're probably going to end up with like a D shape, right? Go forward, go forward. Okay, so now it is 1:50. Okay, it's 1:50 p.m. We have this kind of D shape. It's essentially a D shape. There's this other mode, this clear mode here. They started to fill in this low value area. Up, we come down. Okay, now we're going to fill in this node here. Okay, we start to fill it in. We start to fill it in. What time is it? It is 2:40. We're filling in the lows. So it's getting more evenly distributed, which is good. Okay. Now it is 3 o'clock. So power hour. From 3 to 4 is what I call power hour. Pretty even D shape. So most likely we're going to pin inside of this node, right? We're going to pin inside the middle of this big distribution where most people have participated. That is how the volume profile tends to work, right? These are magnets. Okay. They aren't promises though. They're just magnets. So it tells you where people want to participate. And also if we move away from a magnet during a key period, like the close, where we know that people are shifting the liquidity around or positioning, that means something. So let's take a look at what happens into the close. Okay. It is 5:50, starts to come up post settlement. What time period did I go to? This is, oh, I was an hour off. Okay. I was actually an hour off here. So we get to 6 o'clock, which is 1800. Okay. 1700 is 5. So the market is closed from 5 to 6, guys. That's settlement. So in the last few minutes of the day here, we get this spike. This is the important part here. We reject the lows, and you can see this volume spike in the last 5 minutes. So in the last 5 minutes, we have this very bullish impulse through the POC to the highs, and they pin around the highs. Okay, they pin around the highs in settlement. And this kind of looks like a flag. We can go to the 15-minute chart. And you can see that it's a flag. We have a high volume bottom wick, flag in a D distribution. So if we get to the bullish side of a D distribution, that's just a bullish pattern, guys. We have a high volume bottom wick, a flag, bull flag. Stop thinking about some imbalance or anything below because it's post settlement and just think, what would I do if this was RTH? I would go long. And if I want to do a measured move, I can do it safely. I could go from here to the top, which is 33 points. Okay, let's see what it does. Okay, it starts to move higher. Have we hit 33 points? Oh, it did. Went actually 37 points in that case. Do a little bit more. It ran. It did a little pullback to here. So we actually had another, if we go to the 5-minute here. So we have this bullish price action. Okay, it hits the top, pulls back into the point of control, and then continues. Okay, so we have a very obvious bullish continuation overnight after a bullish close. At this point, we get another example of POC behavior. It's pins to the highs, does a double top, little shape, failure, double top failure. So this price action, when you zoom in, just looks like RTH price action. It's just in super slow motion. But what I really like about overnight, okay, and I took a few longs. I took this first long here. Okay, let me actually get my brush tool. So I took this long through these prices. And then on this pullback, I'll actually replay this again. I'll show you guys something interesting on the 5 minutes. Okay, so we'll replay back to here. So we've got this very small, volume profile, comes up, hits the VAH. Where is it going to go for liquidity? Let's add some lines here. So we've got VWAP, I've got the 8 EMA. Okay, there's a the low of the shelf here. So on a pullback, I'm thinking, they probably want to go to the low of the shelf. Okay, just normal price action behavior. Let's figure out where they go for liquidity. Holy moly, right into the low of that shelf. Okay, so once we get to these prices, and you can see that it's, the VAL moved here, but it's really where there's this slope here. That's where you would start to look for a long. I took that long. That's the long that I took. So I had 2 amazing trades overnight. Here to here, I was expecting it to sweep the highs. I think I went up to like 120 or something. I didn't get the tippy top, but 2 really good trades in what was otherwise slow price action. After this, we start to get this grind pattern, this wedge. Okay, so we get this wedge shape here. That's not the charting tool I think I'm using. So that tool is not going to work. We'll use the trend line. So here and here, right? We get this wedge shape. Okay, we're at the highs. Comes down as another pullback to where the bottom of the volume profile comes up, fails to sweep again, right? First sign of weakness, and we start to roll over. So when you actually replay it like that, it makes sense. You can start to predict where it's going to go using the volume profile across the 5-minute time frame and coming into settlement off of just the entire session, right? The key here, bullish close, 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, we went from the value area low to nearly the high. This was a 80-point move, okay? 80 points, 5 minutes, coming through an entire distribution. And this is a magnet, and we went straight through it. So they were very confident about this move. They wanted to move the market higher. You need to have a narrative in your head, okay? The market's closing. It's evenly distributed. There's a huge magnet here. They move through the magnet. They print a bull flag. The bull flag prints. You just do a straight up measured move, okay? 32 points. Whenever you get the nice liquidity pullback on a flag, like it always does, you get your other 32 points. It runs a little bit more. That's fine. Okay, you play the volume profile again. When it rejects, we zoomed in on that. Take another trade. Plenty of expected value there. So those are 2 overnight longs that I played. What are some of the other possibilities that can happen overnight, right? So you have the opposite. Let me actually change this to white text. Okay, you can have a bearish close on a D profile. Okay, you can also just have the biased volume profile. So you can have a P profile or a B profile. Okay, and that I'll show you what that looks like. Essentially, you have my brush tool. So this is kind of a P. Imagine the volume profile went all the way down there. Okay, that would be a P. If we had volume higher and this low, this would be a B, right? So that basically would mean that they accrued value up here, but then they accrued a ton of value low, and then they closed low. So if you close lower than all of this value that you built, that's very bearish, and then flip it over, very bullish, right? Those are the 3 primary things that I look for. So the D, okay, the end of day bias coming out of a D, or just a very biased close on a P profile or a B profile. And again, it's about what side of the shelf you close on. If you close in the middle of a P profile or a B profile, that's very different than if you close up here, okay? Because you're leaving the magnet. You're getting away from where most of the transactions are on an already biased session in that case, okay? Anything else I want to talk about? That's really it, guys. Pretty straightforward. I think people overcomplicate these trades when I explain them. Like there's nothing magical to it. I know I started this video with a bunch of clickbait, but that's because we're playing the YouTube game. There's a meta to this. I'd love to just be super serious. Honestly, that's what I wanted to do when I started my channel. I just wanted to be serious, but people won't watch your videos. So I get to have fun instead. But yeah, if you've seen my other videos on volume profile and things like that, this should make complete sense, right? You're literally just playing the auction. You're looking at a period, really the transfer from one period of time where there's a lot of volume, which is RT, to another period of time where there's lower volume. You get a new profile, but you have to think, what is the bias of these actors in the market and how can I play with that bias against it? My name is Forrest. I invest in stuff. Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe and say something funny in the comments. Peace.